Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. I just want to make a really quick video today on first trimester of your pregnancy for fitness or workouts and a little bit about nutrition, mainly because I feel like those two things should be talked about together. Obviously they kind of go hand in hand and they both tend to change when you're pregnant regardless of your activity level anyway. So I'm going to break this video up into two. I might do obviously two more of these videos because I feel like things will change as I go into trimester 2 and trimester 3. I'm just moving into trimester 2 now and I can already feel like I'm going to make some adjustments. So I hope it's interesting. I love videos to do with fitness and pregnancy. I think my main message for this, and I know it's quite a difficult topic because everyone feels differently throughout their pregnancy and everyone starts with different abilities. So I haven't included any sort of video footage or anything like that. I just wanted it to be open to all abilities, not including lifting any showing lifting any sort of heavy weights or anything like that. I just want you to feel like you can just take some sort of information or comfort from it. And hopefully be able to share some ideas and things. So I hope you enjoy anyway. The first thing I did was actually reduce my 5 days down to 3 days. And that's not a set thing, you know, it's not like I'm saying to myself, no more 5, you have to only do 3. My first trimester I've found that all I've been able to do is 3, and I've made myself do 3 because it's actually really helped with feeling sick and with tiredness, which some people think sounds ridiculous. You know, how can you be less tired when you go into the gym tired? Well, for whatever reason, it just has seriously helped. I've upped my cardio, and that seems to really help with energy levels, but also the sickness. As soon as I step onto any cardio machine, the sickness just lifts. And I come away from the gym just feeling much more energized. And the next day, so long as I haven't pushed myself too hard the night before at the gym, I do feel like I have a lot more energy. So it's definitely a good technique to combat sickness and tiredness, is to keep active. Drink lots of water whilst you're at the gym. Obviously stay hydrated, you require more water whilst pregnant anyway. Not overdoing it so that the next day you're aching or just not wanting to go to the gym anymore, dreading it. It's meant to be something that you look forward to. So that was part of the reason why I changed down to 3 days instead of 5, just to take the pressure off, just so I could listen to my body a bit better, instead of having, I didn't set oh, it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday every week, because I wanted to see how I was feeling. I do definitely have days where I'm just completely wiped out, and I do think it would be a mistake to go work out in the gym. It would be pointless. I'd just be sat there feeling miserable. Just listen to your body. I think it's so important to avoid injury, avoid burnout. Your muscles obviously relax when you're pregnant due to the hormone relaxin. It's so much easier to just tear a muscle or end up with lower back pain, which is the last thing that you want when you're pregnant anyway. Listening to your body and just taking some pressure off yourself. If you're working out 5 days a week, maybe just try and cut back a bit if you feel like you need to. Before I was pregnant this time around, I was lifting quite heavy weights with the idea that I would continue to lift heavier and heavier. I wasn't bulking or anything like that. I was trying to stay very lean. So I was on a low carb diet. I was eating lots of protein. I was lifting as heavy as I could. I was generally trying to increase that over time. So obviously now being pregnant, you can't really do that. I think that people do. People definitely do, but I'm more in the middle ground of, it's not that important to me that I completely wear myself out or do myself any injuries. I think maybe if I felt like I could continue with it, then I would, but that just hasn't been the way for me. So initially when I found out I was pregnant, I carried on with the gym exactly how I was before. So I was doing 5-day workout, doing a little bit of cardio, which was a poor excuse for cardio really. It's just a bit of a warm up to get blood pumping. And then going into either a leg day, an arm day, a back day, or a glute day. And normally in between that I'd have HIIT workouts, which was mainly following some other YouTubers like Sarah's Day, doing like 15-minute HIIT workouts, which is a lot of like jumping around up and down off the floor. I already have blood pressure issues, so I figured that doing HIIT workouts like that, where you throwing yourself onto the floor doing burpees and jumping up and down, probably wasn't the best idea. So that was the first thing that I changed. And then I noticed when I got to about 8 weeks that I was starting to get quite a bit of lower back pain. Now, obviously with lower back pain and doing heavy squats, the two and two just, they don't work together. So the first thing I did with that was lowered my weight. I lowered just to a 20 kilogram bar, and I was quite happy with that for about a week or 2 weeks, until then my body was just telling me, you know, this isn't really worth it, you're still struggling, you're having to push yourself, which is totally soul destroying when you've worked up to a certain weight. But I told myself, no, you have to listen, and now I just use a studio bar, which is 8 kilograms, and it's worked so much better just changing to high repetition, lowering my weight, and yeah, just going for longer until that burnout feeling, rather than permanently feeling like I'm struggling with a heavy weight. So yeah, that would be my first tip, is to adjust your weight. So continue with what you were doing before, just adjust your weight, be sensible, and listen to your body. Second thing that I found that I had to change was, before I was doing lots of pull-ups, lots of chin-ups, and quite a bit of core work. This just hasn't felt right for me this time. I can't remember what I did my first pregnancy, but for some reason this time around it just hasn't felt right at all. As soon as I've gone to do any pull-ups or chin-ups, I've felt this weird, just weird sensation down my middle. It's made me feel uneasy, so I haven't been doing any sort of core work. I know it can be a bit disruptive anyway. People worry about tearing their abs whilst pregnant, which is something I don't want to do. I just figured, what's the point anyway? Like, I'm going to end up with this bump on my front, so it's not like I need to be working my abs. I do other exercises that include core strength, which is obviously important. But yeah, I'm not doing any sort of ab specific work. Not doing pull-ups or chin-ups, which obviously require your core to fully tighten and help pull your whole body up. So yeah, that's been my second major change. My third one is just to do with reducing weight again, with hip thrusts. I'm not sure with hip thrusts. I know that you can safely do them whilst pregnant. I guess when your bump starts to get bigger, then that changes again, so maybe that's something we can talk about in a future video. But at the moment I've just lowered the weight, and I'm just using the bar. So instead of using any sort of heavy plates or anything and placing the plates straight on top of me, on top of my hips, I've been using just the studio bar straight across and just making sure that it's not rolling too much, just for peace of mind, basically. Some people will probably think that's absolutely ridiculous, but yeah, just trying to keep it in one place, not too heavy, and yeah, making sure it doesn't roll up and down my belly. So I guess linking in with that previous point about me upping my cardio, that's also linked in with the sort of structure of my workouts. So whereas before I was going and having a legs day, an arms day, a back day, and such like, now I go in and I do between 15 and half an hour of cardio. And this has really helped actually, because before I don't like running. I've got knee problems, so instead of making myself just go on the treadmill for a 5-minute warm up and just blasting sprints out, I've been using loads of different machines. So if I have an arm day, now I'll go on the rowing machine and then the bike or something like that. Just however I feel is going to be a nice start, and get all my body, my blood pumping, my specific muscles warmed up. For between 15 and 30 minutes, depending on how I'm feeling during the day. And this has just kept things a bit more interesting actually, like using machines that I never would have used before. And also I think running on a treadmill can be quite daunting, just because it's monotonous and a bit boring. So using the different machines has definitely helped. I've stopped now doing too many hip abductor type exercises, mainly because I feel like my lower pain on my lower back and my hips, obviously they all move, your pelvis is moving with having a baby, and I've definitely had a bit of aching. It just hasn't felt very comfortable, so I just thought, why do it to yourself? So I haven't been using like weighted machines. I've now just switched back to the handy old resistance band. So just doing things like donkey kicks, I can't remember any of the other names, but basically like kickbacks, donkey kicks, that funny sideways one that looks like a dog weeing on a lamppost, and such like. I've just been using this. This is a extra heavy one, but I guess things might change again and I might have to go down to my heavy one, so we'll see how that goes. I also invested in a pair of these, like little kickback shoes. So I don't like using just the hand ones that they normally have in the gym. I don't know what it's like in everyone else's gyms, but you can never get these. So these literally just open up, fit around your foot, wrap around your ankle, and they're just a lot more comfortable when you're pregnant, I think, to make sure that the weight isn't going to just randomly be distributed somewhere else, so you're getting a shock up the side of your leg or anything, because they can't slip. So you clip yourself into this and can do leg kickbacks on cable machines, and just know that you're not going to be in for a shock with the weight moving somewhere else that you didn't expect it. Which I wouldn't have really minded before, because I would have just dealt with it, but when you're worrying about your hips and your lower back and things like that, it's just not worth it. Yeah, so I think that's probably about it. I haven't really, with not doing any major core or ab work, I haven't really been lying flat on my back. I don't think that's really a problem until you've got a proper bump anyway. That's just something that I just naturally haven't been doing, so I wouldn't really be able to make any comments on that about how it's made me feel or anything. But I think that's about it for workout. So yeah, let's move on to a bit about